Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Here in a brand new summery, sweltering Gonzo Radio show, Gonzo Radio Network headquarters. We all hate daylight savings time, and this is one of the reasons why. The new start time, 6 p.m. Hopefully some of you are paying attention and not paying any attention to local news. Screw local news. Who cares? Yeah, some guy hit a tree. And sports coming up right after this. Well, guess what? We're your sports. Now, we're not necessarily your local sports, although I will talk about the Miami Dolphins from time to time for those of you here in the South Florida region. And seated across from me, I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. That is Da Mazz.
Hello, folks.
Folks. We got folks. Peoples.
Hello,
watching.
Gonzo. How are you, sir?
44 whole views last week.
That's a lot.
The whole thing with, getting our moms to watch is starting to work.
I know. Well, I've got to pay her. Matter of fact, I forgot to send the check. Shit.
Oh.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not that much. She's definitely paid for me more. I'm sure over the years I owe her a lot.
It's got that Italian gangster grandma.
Yeah.
You need to give me my my sauce money. So, I was out for a couple of weeks because I was ill. I had the cooties. Matt also had the cooties.
I'm still ill. I want to apologize ahead of time for the any hacks that may be coming down the.
Well, that's the reason why you're 7 feet away or 6 feet away. Is like you just stay over there and.
I'll keep it. It'll be an internal hack. It won't be an external hack.
We'll just turn the camera off on him when he turns. I'm not worried. You'll just get Kevin sick when the Gonzo Radio show starts. He can use that microphone.
We'll wipe everything down when we're done.
Yes, I hope. But we have quite a bit to get to. It is, and you have the graphic there. I would like to welcome you to Happy Tampering Day. Happy Tampering Day. It is the first day in the unofficial tampering period.
Where teams are no longer cheating.
Where teams are no longer tampering via text message.
Right.
Or making invitational tweets.
Train pigeons, perhaps?
Right, yeah, sure. Like those guys didn't go to college together or something like that.
Sure.
But today, a lot going on. Left tackle from New England, Brown, he's gone. He went to the Raiders. Raiders spending big money.
Yeah, they also got that receiver.
They made some sort of a trade here recently for a wide receiver by the name of Antonio Brown.
Huge trade. What's your take on that? You think that's going to be a win?
What's my take? Well, listen, I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You are.
I am.
Okay. And I know you're just tossing to me so that I can just get my little 2 minutes of blah, blah, blah. And then you're
going to fight with someone. That's why I threw it to you.
I
want to argue.
You're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Both teams are just hopefully are going to benefit from this, but I see failure on both sides, obviously. I don't know. Antonio Brown, listen, Steelers, quick history, 6th-round pick, had him for 6 years, was a phenomenal player, far exceeded what we paid for him. But now, he's no longer a Steeler. He's a Raider, and maybe on the backside of his career, 31 years old. Skeptics are saying, receivers, when they get to a certain point, they lose a little step, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, but we also saw guys like Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice still being relevant in this league, even when they said they lost a step.
Sure. Relevant for $30 million, guaranteed.
That's
a big relevancy.
That's a lot of relevancy. You're looking for a lot of relevancy.
That's
You're relevant like a mofo.
Steelers got a 3rd and a 5th back.
Which is a good investment.
Yeah, but again, here's where I think they fell short. They were very short-sighted and stubborn, and I think that's part of the Steelers' MO. They're set in their ways. They have a way of doing things, and they're not going to change. And I think their feelings were hurt, for a lack of better analogies to explain what happened. And they could have moved him sooner and gotten a better deal. Certainly, maybe even a 1st-round pick if they had acted on this last year when all this noise started to kind of get out of control.
They're the Rooneys. We're the Steelers. The Patriots had to catch up to them. You can just go now. And, they settled for a 3 and a 5, a 3rd rounder and a 5th rounder. But like we had discussed, we talk a lot of sports the minute he walks through the door here. So yeah. we talk this out. Now we're going to re-talk it out just for you. But last year they could have gotten more.
For sure. But now, again, careful when you're using the word settle for 3rd and 5th.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some other teams that were included in this mix. A third and a fifth. I want you to consider what those third and fifth round picks are going to be thinking when they hit the field for the first time when camp breaks. You're going to ask them who Antonio Brown is, and those guys are going to just laugh and say, Antonio who? You want guys like that. They're going to be on the field that want to be there. So once camp breaks, you got a third and a fifth round pick. Steelers traditionally are good in the draft. And if you look back in their history,
they do okay.
Yeah,
they do all right.
They've gotten a few third and fourth rounders that have
the
done
Colbert
pretty well.
The Colbert guy is pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at what he does.
Antonio Brown was in the sixth round. Jesse James, tight end now, he's a third rounder. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in the history, we've got players that we take in those middle rounds. I mean, if your scouting department is solid, and I think the Steelers are traditionally, I think they can use those picks and make the team a better team. So move on.
I don't doubt it.
That's not our issue. My issue with these receivers, I don't want to get on a rant, but I'm about to.
Oh, okay. He went all Dennis
Here's
Miller
my
on us.
analogy with receivers. Receivers are like icing. They're icing on the cake. And unless you've got a good cake, then you don't need an icing. Last year, the top three receivers, salary-wise in the NFL, none of those teams made the playoffs. As a matter of fact, I think it was 7 of the top 10 paid receivers. Those teams were home last year come playoff time. So you build with the quarterbacks. You build with the offensive line, certainly defensive line. Receivers, to me, icing on a cake.
No, well, that would be OBJ at home.
Sure. The other one was from the Bucks, Mike
Evans.
Evans.
Oh, so at
and
home.
then Antonio Brown this year is going to be the second highest paid receiver.
Well,
so to a team in the Raiders that, to me, are still quite a few players away.
And listen, that non-qualifying for the playoffs might be true because the Raiders are still in the middle of a rebuild right now, or rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But I would say this: he is a good major piece.
He's a draw
to start with.
He's a draw.
Sure.
And when you're trying to get a franchise off the ground in a new stadium with a new coach, with the excitement, obviously those are the sorts of moves you need to make. You need to put people in the stands. You've got to get some excitement. I'm not saying Antonio Brown's not going to live up to his contract. And I'm not saying Antonio Brown is at fault for trying to get the money he deserves. But the Steelers weren't willing to pay him at this point. The Raiders were, and that's where the move was made. It's just unfortunate the way he went out, the things he said about Ben, the things he said about the owner and the coaches and stuff like that. It just doesn't bode well for.
It's got that owner mentality.
No, I mean it's still a very small league, and there's players and coaches. I mean, they these if they're going to remain their lives within the NFL, with underneath that shield, they all have to work together at some point. They're going to be crossing paths down the road.
Right. Well, there's a looming lockout coming in 2020 anyway. I mean, they're literally having meetings where they're telling the guys, save your money, hold on to your cash, because it might be a lockout or a walkout, and it might be a prolonged labor problem.
Well, the issue is that the players in the NFL, I think, are looking over the NBA and going, these guys in the NBA have a little bit of power that we don't have that maybe we want to get a piece of. The issue is the NBA is a star-driven league. The NFL, you can't have some of the behaviors and changes that you have in the NBA, like the LeBron James going back and forth, the issues with Kawhi Leonard, the stars of the league sitting out for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. See how that would work if it was in the NFL, some of your stars not playing every game, or if you had more power. No, the NFL runs a tight ship. They do it for a reason because it works. So that's an issue.
Just look at Antonio Brown.
That's an issue.
He sat out a critical game at the end of the year, and he's gone.
Yeah, well, Le'Veon Bell is another example, clearly. Out of season. People think, at least for him, he's rested. He's not going to play. It's not the mileage on his body. You ask any of these guys, they want to be on the field. There's no way that you can tell me that it's going to be strictly beneficial that he's a year away from football. Most guys that are a year away from anything professionally don't come back the same player. Situations change. There's just too many variables.
Where do you think he's going to land? Where do you think he's going to land? Is Le'Veon Bell is in
Steelers West? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Le'Veon goes to the Raiders too. The speculation. It's early. Listen, if there's a chance they're going to pitch it, they're going to try and get Le'Veon Bell.
Well, the big problem with the Raiders is they've spent their money. They picked up, like I said, the massive left tackle for the Patriots.
Right.
Brown. What the hell is Brown? I don't know. I hate all Patriots, so I don't care who they are. Just Brown.
Oh, more Patriots.
Yeah. Well, you now have a Patriot left tackle.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a Patriot left tackle who is the highest paid offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. His contract is the most lucrative offensive line contract in the history of the NFL. So what we're seeing is the Raiders have now spent themselves to the point where they're kind of cash short. Especially 3 and 4 years down the line with these big contracts, with Brown, with both Browns.
I don't think they're worried about cash moving into that stadium and the revenues that at least they've predicted they're going to sell. Here, this is the confusing thing about the Raiders. It looked to me they were stockpiling picks. They got rid of talent. They got rid of Khalil Mack.
They got
rid of Amari Cooper. And now, why are they all of a sudden going out and trying to get players back and giving up draft picks?
Well, they've got 4 of the top 35. They've got, I believe it's 24, 27, 35. That's a hell of a cluster. And that's a hell of a, from 24 to 35, you got 3 picks.
If you believe,
that's around the end of the first, beginning of the second.
If they believe, and I think they do, that Derek Carr is their franchise quarterback, they have their piece. Yeah. With all those picks, and with some of the players that they still had on that team, especially on the defensive side, with all those picks, they could have made a very good impression this year moving forward to build that young team in the right direction. I think the urgency of the new stadium, the city, the change, the coach, the contract, all the stuff that's behind pushing that propaganda wagon and pressure for Gruden especially, those, again, sometimes those force you to make decisions that you may regret. And I just don't see why a directional change was needed at this point. Is Antonio Brown the difference next year? If you can't, their offensive line was, I think, the 3rd worst in the league last year. Derek Carr's numbers are strong, but he was on his back for most of the season.
Yeah, so, what little success they had was because of him, not in spite of him. I'll say that much.
Again, you can't fit the pieces on top and expect the pieces underneath that are the support to make that thing go. It's just not going to work. You have to build from within. They've got the quarterback. They're already ahead of the game. They should have kept the picks, and they should have used them, and they should have built the offensive line.
Well, they're going to keep the picks. I think the reason why that they have spent themselves so cap short right now, or they cash short, okay, they're cap long, but they're cash short. Those two, the Brown and Brown contracts are, 4 years? Both of them are 4 years, and that 3rd and 4th year from now, talking 2022, 2023,
right?
They're going to be hurting for certain. So, of course, it only makes sense that you're going to pile up rookies.
If they can't get out of their own way in the first 2 seasons in the new stadium with the coaching change, year 4 is not going to matter.
No.
They didn't sign Brown for year 4, even though it's a 4-year deal. They didn't sign the defensive end for year 4. I'm sorry, the offensive lineman. And whatever other moves they're going to consequently make, they'll make more moves.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Why the directional change? Why stockpile picks for the draft and then all of a sudden do a 180 and then get rid of some picks for icing on the cake? That just, to me, it seems like pick a direction, make a statement, make a plan, stick to your plan, and then move forward towards what the rest of the successful teams have done, which, again, like I said, they've got the quarterback. They have their piece. Now it's to build around the quarterback. Put him in a position where he's going to play. We'll see. We'll see.
And they are, well, I mean, listen, that number 4 pick has got to go to the best edge rusher there.
Yeah, well, obviously, they've got to build the defensive line.
They've got to get that guy to replace Khalil Mack.
Yeah, well, good luck.
They've got to get that guy with the 24 or the 27. Those 4 picks, the first 4 picks that they have are very crucial. Those have all got to be guys that you can just go, you're a starter. You're a starter. You're a starter. Impact players, period. And they can't just go, oh, well, if we only hit on 2 of them. No, you got to hit all 4, Cupcake. All 4.
Well, there's a lot of pressure.
They're losing Jared Cook at tight end.
Jared.
So one of those has to be a tight end.
Yeah, well, Gruden's under a lot of pressure, and I think that maybe again, I'm not sure what his plan was. I thought it was to build his team the way he wanted it with as many picks as you can acquire.
Well, and he has.
We'll see what happens.
He's in that situation right now.
Okay. Well, he just lost 2 picks, and again, there's still another month and a half. You said just today teams are talking, so we'll see what happens in the next couple of days with the Raiders.
Right. Well, there's a lot of mid-level free agents that are going to get ready to start going. The $2 to $4 million a year, I don't need a big guarantee type of free agents are really coming available right now. I mean, you look, the Dolphins signed Dwayne Allen.
Yeah.
Okay, 9-year veteran, 2 years.
Couple of Pro Bowls though. I mean, a good player.
But he's 2 years at like $4.5 million, $3 million guaranteed.
Great value for them.
Great value.
Yeah.
Great value. They've already got 3 tight ends.
Yeah.
3 young guys. They've got O'Leary, they got Gesicki, and they got the other kid, the kid from Notre Dame. Hamana. We do quality research here at the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk.
It's coming to me. Yeah,
the point being is now they've got 4 tight ends, and they've got a pretty good vocal leader.
Who's their quarterback?
Nobody.
Okay.
Me.
Great.
I'm the quarterback.
You may need to start getting in game shape. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm just saying you probably haven't thrown anything.
I have a pretty quick release.
Like a football.
Yeah, I have a pretty quick release, but once that quick release needs to go past 20 yards, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
But the
Cam Newton.
Yeah. Well, he admitted that his shoulder was shot.
And I love football. We all love football. We're talking a lot of football.
Yeah.
Okay. Just let you know.
You know, I mean, if you really want to open up that can of worms with the Dolphins, how much rebuilding do they need to do in regards to find a quarterback? Okay, there's a ton of speed on that offense, a ton of speed, a lot of young, fast guys.
Yeah.
Okay, a ton.
Yeah.
So you put together a half-decent offensive line and have a half-decent quarterback. You don't have to go get an elite guy. You don't have to go get elite players. Just somebody who can operate your offense, run your offense, and not fuck up.
I thought there was some Nick Foles traction for the Dolphins. That never.
No. Listen, the
personal
guy.
opinions aside, I mean, there wasn't any discussion that there was a possible connection.
No,
there?
that's not going to happen.
Well, not now, obviously, but I mean earlier on.
Well, no, Foles is still a free agent. I still haven't seen anything that would indicate otherwise.
I thought Nick Foles was on the block for the
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I thought that was a done deal.
The Jaguars.
Yeah, Nick Foles.
Yeah, not seeing any Nick Foles. Okay, so far, currently, he has not been sold, or he has not been signed. But the point is with Miami, all you have to do is come up with a halfway decent quarterback. Who knows? They might go sign Teddy Bridgewater. Where does that put us in the quarterback chase then? Because if you have Teddy Bridgewater running that offense and you just have a half decent offensive line, so many fast guys: Kenyon Drake, Kalen Ballage.
Okay. But
Ralph,
can I ask a question? Directional wise, let's say for the Dolphins, you're the GM. You've been chasing this dream for a long time now in different directions. What are we doing with, say, a Teddy Bridgewater? Is he our guy? Is he a guy that is going to take your franchise in the next 5 to 7 years, because that's what you have to realize, that's what he could give you at this point in his career, put it on its back, and take you to a championship? Is Teddy Bridgewater that guy?
It's possible. It's possible.
Okay.
It is. It's possible.
Okay.
You look at before his catastrophic knee injury, and you look how he's recovered from it.
This isn't a knock on Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
I'm just talking about direction. Are you trying to find the guy? Are you trying to find the bridge gap? Are you trying to get a guy until you can get another guy? I mean, this whole thing in the NFL where it's like, you know, there's 16 games that are played, and year from year, there's so much parity in the NFL. That
right.
You win 3 or 4 games in a row, you're in a position to get into the playoffs in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it works.
The bold step would be Bridgewater. The resigned to the bargain basement step would be like a guy like Fitzpatrick.
Again, to do what? For the bridge gap theory?
Yes.
To wait until we have another opportunity to go get somebody.
And maybe even take a swing at a guy in the second round. Okay, if somebody slides to the second round, you take a swing at that guy.
What I don't understand about these teams is that when you see a guy that you know is going to lead your franchise, and I know there are mistakes in the first round for quarterbacks. There's been that way all through the drafts. But I think more so now there's more hits than misses if you do it the right way. You can create systems around some of these newer quarterbacks because they certainly have clear specific skill sets, like the kid Murray with his speed and his arm strength. The height, the knocks, you will always have them.
Midget.
But you can still, again, coaches at least feel they can game plan for these specific types of talents. And they're all over in college football. The landscape of college football has changed because most of these programs run pro-style offenses. So these kids come in prepared. They're not like it used to be.
Do you think Josh Rosen is done in Arizona?
It depends on where they go in the draft. If they can draft.
If Kyler Murray is drafted first overall by the Arizona Cardinals,
then Rosen's not going to be a Cardinal. Then why would they keep him? I mean, how would you feel if you're Rosen? You're the first pick that they failed on. I
would feel like Craig Erickson.
It would be. Listen,
you remember Craig Erickson and Troy Aikman?
I'm not sure what the Cardinals' direction is. Again, obviously they took Rosen thinking he was their guy. Can that much change in a season that was filled with some injury as well, with a team where they were just bad all the way around? Offensively, they never moved. I mean, David Johnson was a shell of himself from the previous year before his injury. And Larry Fitzgerald, as good as he has been, he's 103 years old. So
he was a nursemaid to the rookie.
I mean, again, they're a young.
It's like, just throw it to Larry.
I mean, they got rid of Bruce Arians' first mistake, and it's been downhill from there. So, again, the Cardinals are a whole different issue. Football, we have other stuff.
We have other stuff. You want to talk about baseball?
I'll talk about a little baseball.
I mean, spring training is.
People are kind of
in full swing.
Yeah, most teams have played about 20 games, give or so. I mean, nobody. Spring training is spring training. Nobody really watches the standings.
Yeah, well, no, you watch for injuries.
Who
got hurt?
You're looking for guys with storylines coming into camp. You're looking for guys that you're wondering, like you said, if they're coming back from injury, if they're with new ball teams, new clubs. Guys that maybe are in, a little speculation. Some guys coming up in the minors. Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Who is hurt? 3
weeks now. Do you know, I'm going to throw this at you.
Oh, no.
The Toronto Blue Jays, they have Vlad Guerrero's son. They have, this is all obviously through their entire minor league systems. They got Dante Bichette's son. And
Dante Bichette's
son. And who is the other major leaguer they have in there as well? There's another third dad-son combination.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure who would have to go back and check. But still, ironically, they have all those all those guys are top prospects, Bichette and Guerrero. So baseball's exciting.
Of course, they were brought up in baseball.
Yeah, the Harper signing was huge for the Phillies. They got their piece. They got their guy for.
How is the hair flip doing? Has he debuted yet? He's debuted in spring training already.
He's got 2 games under his belt, a couple of walks, a couple of hits, no homers yet. We'll see.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about the kid is he does have a good eye. He's not going to necessarily swing at your junk pitches.
No, his on-base percentage has been strong. His power numbers are there. I mean, that ballpark is very conducive to a left-handed bat, and he has a ton of power. So.
Man, how would you like to be JT Realmuto right now?
He's a happy guy, too. Yeah. Phillies look really good. I'm a Phillies fan, too, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I've been chasing them, both them and the Steelers, since I was a child. So.
Yeah, well.
Which is many, many years ago. Even though I'm still a child, technically, maybe mentality-wise.
Childish.
I'm just a big child now.
Childish.
Yeah, I'm a child with means. That's scary.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's a kid with a credit card.
Yeah, it's means. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you have any more major news from baseball, we'll take a quick break while
we're about 2 weeks out for the season start. March 28th is opening day.
2 weeks away.
So we're close. I'm sure the storylines will heat up. And let's just keep an eye and just get ready for the regular season. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Marlins 90 wins.
Oh, it's going to be a while.
Okay, in 3 years.
Yeah, it's going to be a while for the Marlins, but curious to see how Mr. Jeter does. I want to see the attendance the first 2 weeks for all the Marlins home games. I'm curious to see where they are comparative to last year. I'm not even going to
20,000, not per total.
No, I hope not. I hope not. Not for baseball's sake. Not for the Marlins' sake.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. I love going to those early games.
Yeah. I mean, any games. Just I'm saying earlier in the season, like their first 10 home games. I want to see where they are attendance-wise, paid attendance, on where they are compared to where they are now and last year.
I usually go to a couple of games in like April and May, and then I come back in like August, and it's like, who are these guys?
Yeah, well, that's September call-ups.
What?
Yeah. Except it's not in September.
It's August.
Yeah,
it's like because everybody's hurt or been traded, or both.
Yeah,
so it's the way that goes. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, fire up the old Breakatron 6000. Then we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back to talk about haters of LeBron James on the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. back to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk here on the Gonzo Radio Network. That's right. It's a network. I'm going to get like a family or a big fancy lower third, like translucent Gonzo Radio Network thing, and we're going to have all our various shows here on the Gonzo Radio. I've got to get us a Gonzo Radio Sports Desk page, though, on YouTube, I think. I think we're going to get an individual one.
Is there a chance that we can make bobbleheads? It could be dangerous for anybody that would ever buy them.
I can do the bobblehead.
You and I. Well, I know that, but I'm saying an actual, like, something we could actually call our own. Like I think a bobblehead would be kind of cool. Sports related. They give them away. We can give them away.
Yeah, but those bobbleheads, you get a bobblehead of me, and the head's like this big around. Body's like this big, and the head's like that big around.
We'll have to sell maybe some sort of consent form, maybe that they can sign.
And it'll look like a rotten peach, both fuzzy and rotten.
Didn't say it was a good idea, just an idea.
Okay,
sorry.
Where would that be on the succo meter?
For who? For us, or for the person who got hurt with the bobblehead?
For the person who got my bobblehead.
36.
It's like,
yeah,
they're giving this away.
Yeah, 36.
Can I get a different one?
You could double it. Listen, here's an idea. Cut a slit in the top, double it for a bank.
Oy vey.
How many quarters can you put in there?
Probably about $6 worth.
I'm gonna go 12.
12.
Yeah,
because I have a huge head.
It's big.
It's huge.
Sorry.
It's gigantic.
Okay.
By the way, I have gotten a request from a Mr. Randy Vega, who is a stand-up comic who was on the Gonzo Radio Show. He's a sports nut, and he wants to come on. So we may be seeing him in the near future.
Let's hope.
Maybe, possibly.
Let's hope.
Yeah, we're going to start having guests because we sort of know people. But getting right to it, let's get over to the NBA, the National Basketball Association. A lot of LeBron hating going on. A lot of kill LeBron. I mean, like, old man LeBron.
Kick a man when he's down.
Kick him when he's down hard.
The haters are hating strong right now.
I mean, they're talking about LeBron went Hollywood. LeBron doesn't care about basketball. LeBron's just biding his time until his kid comes to the NBA.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
I mean, please, seriously.
Yeah.
We're talking about one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the sport.
Yeah, perhaps the greatest. Many arguments can support that.
Well, yeah. Well, you got your old timers that'll jump up and yell, "Bill Russell!"
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen.
Well, Chamberlain.
I don't want to even discuss the guys from then, the guys from now,
I'm
not
from the 80s and 90s will be just like, he ain't Michael Jordan.
I'm not the guy to say even that today's guys are better than yesterday's guys.
Right.
I'm just saying, please, people, too much variance. How you compare? I can't compare myself to myself a year ago, and you want to compare different athletes from different eras?
Well, we have a meme of I believe it's of MJ's competition versus LeBron's competition. Did I put that meme in there? I didn't load it. Oh,
it was a good one.
Yeah, it was okay. It was Kurt Rambis was MJ's competition, and Giannis was LeBron's competition.
Right.
And I mean, you look at Giannis. The guy is huge.
He's a freak.
Well, that's the reason why they call him the Greek freak.
Yeah,
because he is a physical, freaky specimen. And you look at let's face facts. You look at Kurt Rambis. Kurt Rambis looks like a retired
gym teacher.
librarian, gym teacher. Yeah,
right.
Gym teacher who's just too fucking tired for this.
Right.
You kids wear me out.
Not a knock on Kurt Rambis.
No.
But again,
awesome player.
Kurt Rambis was the top
good coach
10 inside big guy in that time frame.
Sure.
But how do you say where he'd fit now? How do you say where Giannis
LeBron would have
fit
killed
then?
him.
It's tough.
Killed him, literally killed him.
All right, back to the haters.
Glasses flying off his head, jersey torn.
LeBron is been one of the most dominant NBA forces that the league has ever seen.
I saw that dude play in the fifth row in Miami, and I've seen Shaq from the fifth row. I've seen all the Miami greats from the fifth row, and I saw LeBron from the fifth row. LeBron is an alien. He's a robot.
What he does on the court, what his IQ is on the court, what his ability to do on the ball, off the ball. Now, again, maybe I'm peak LeBron, and which was obviously maybe a good 10 years, which nobody has in the NBA, peak talent on that level.
Sure.
But again, let's say he even took a half a step back this year, stat-wise. His numbers are still off the charts and could probably be even better if the situation surrounding the Lakers now was different, if they were in contention, if he wasn't taking, only playing 30 minutes a game as opposed to playing, 40 minutes over his career. He's averaging, I think, nearly 38 minutes a night, doesn't miss a game. Listen, took a misstep this year, maybe some miscalculating in terms of some direction, thinking he could handle everything. The LA fame, the new team, the young talent that people are
I think
questioning.
He overestimated it.
Listen, misstep, okay? Human. We all do it. Missteps are not his norm, okay?
Well,
so
he counted the factors of making the move. And one of those factors is it's L.A. It's L.A., Hollywood, TV, movies, HBO, all of that. And what's been happening? TV, Hollywood, exactly. HBO, movies.
I think he underestimated the ability to handle both. I think he thought that the workload wasn't going to be as heavy. I'm talking in terms of the basketball side.
Right.
And that he was just going to go plant himself in L.A. He's going to be able to handle 2 careers at one time and just ride off into the sunset with a championship or 2, land a player like a Davis or somebody, and then, again, just another feather in the cap.
Well, Davis is coming. Where's he going to go?
I don't know.
Where is Anthony Davis going to go?
That again, I don't know, but he ain't going to the Lakers. I don't think anyone's going to the Lakers. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a reboot next year for the Lakers. I think LeBron goes into next year healthier, maybe perhaps than he's ever been, maybe in a few years, essentially. I think Ingram, hopefully that's another big one. Hopefully he gets this, a vein issue that he's got?
Deep veins thrombosis.
Yeah, I saw that too. Don't know enough about it.
Dude's
I do
22,
I do
23.
It's not common. It doesn't sound good. So if he recovers from that, if Ball recovers from his injuries, that's the Lakers' nucleus. They've got to learn how to figure it out. Here's what's going to change. There's going to be a coaching change in the offseason. LeBron's going to bring in his guy, whoever his guy is, and they're going to reset from that point.
Ty Lue.
Perhaps.
It's Ty Lue.
Perhaps.
It's going to be Ty Lue.
Perhaps. But there'll be a reset in the Lakers. More importantly, LeBron will reset. Because even with those kids that are in place now, assuming Ingram comes back healthy, assuming Ball comes back healthy, assuming Kuzma still takes a step forward and improves, the talent that he had in Cleveland,
Anthony Davis,
doesn't compare to anything that he's got on that roster now. He's got much more talent on that Lakers roster. And that's not including, too, what happens if they fall into a lottery pick? What happens if they fall into the kid from Duke? Now, I know it's a long shot, but what happens if that happens?
Zion Williamson?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not going to happen.
They're in position for a lottery pick.
Right.
They're sitting 11th in the West right now.
Right.
They're in position. I think they have a 2 or 3% chance of getting that ball. So with that being said, again, assuming they get the lottery pick, 2% chance could happen. You never know.
I know. Well, okay. So you're saying there's a chance.
What I'm saying is there's trade bait potentially as well. So again, they reset, new coach. LeBron's got some drive. Basketball becomes priority next year. And the Lakers reset. And then I think you'll be able to accurately gauge where they'll be moving forward. And if they don't succeed next year, then it's a wrap. Well, then you're going to see a lot more movies and a lot more infomercials and commercials there for Mr. LeBron James. Basketball will be behind him.
Have you seen The Shop? That's his talk show, his little talk show thing on HBO?
Yes.
It's pretty groovy. It's pretty all right.
The man is talented. I'm not, whatever, I'm a homer. I'm a LeBron fan. I root him. I root for him here, root for him in Cleveland.
I seen him.
That's sort of a talent. How do you not pull for a guy like that?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's changed the landscape of the NBA for a positive. Most eyes will say positive.
Well, we're all already looking forward to the day that Zion Williamson and LeBron meet, and we see the future versus the now heading for the past. I think that's the next guy, the next big thing.
Just be careful with kids like Zion and other talents that are in the NBA. These kids aren't playing, what are they, a year or two of college ball now for the most part?
Yeah, they're about to end that, by the way.
Well, they should. And unless
they're about to let 18-year-olds
play in the NBA.
Yeah, play in the NBA.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kevin Garnett was the one example, so everybody should try. But anyway, regardless, what I'm saying is that they need to let this kid develop and let him become the player that they think he can be instead of anointing him the player they want him to be. The expectations could be a real problem, and usually that's why I think a lot of these kids don't succeed. They're kids, 20 years old, 19 years old, that are given keys to franchises, multi-billion-dollar establishments, and said, here, now do the same thing you did in college. Doesn't work like that. Not all the time.
Yeah, but a freak like Williamson, I see him excelling at the next level. I just do. Immediately excelling at the next level. Is he a
freak when he stands next to the freak? Is he a freak when he stands next to...
They are very similar in size and stature. Let's put it that way.
Is he a freak when he stands next to even a guy like a subpar player like, I don't know, I've seen a little resurgence of Brook Lopez right now for Milwaukee.
Lopez.
I mean, here's a 7-footer who's skilled offensively.
Take Drummond or...
Well, no, because I'm underselling the fact of Zion being that imposing. So what I'm saying is that, I could have picked Shaq. I mean, I could have picked anybody. But what I'm saying is I'm picking middle NBA guys that are imposing, at least by stature and by statistical nature, that just lower expectations just a hair. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay. Well,
there's a reason why these NBA teams stay in the lottery, okay, year after year after year. Because the guys coming out that were the first and the second and the third picks don't necessarily make these teams that much better.
Greg Oden.
Otherwise, they'd get out of the lottery. They wouldn't stay in the rotation is what I call it. It's not a lottery.
Greg
it's
Oden.
A rotation. So, I mean, it's perspective. Give the kid a chance to perform. He will be a player in the NBA, and he will be a force. But let's let him determine that. Let's not plan it for him.
Speaking of Greg Oden went back on senior day for the Ohio State basketball team and got his degree. So good on you, Greg.
Good for you, Greg.
Good on you, young man.
Good for you.
Old man. He came out looking 45 anyway. He looked like he was 45 and been smoking cigarettes the whole time when he came out.
He came out old, yes.
It looked like he'd been smoking a pack a day since he was 11.
Yeah, that could have been... Do you remember the All-Star, not the All-Star game, the Little League World Series? Was it Del Monte? Was that the kid's name? El Monte, the name was? Yeah, where he was, like 24? And they said he was 12 or something like that?
19 and he was 14.
He had 3 kids and drove a station wagon. Yes, it's just insane.
He drove a Chrysler, he was a Chrysler Newport.
He was his brother ran a tourist agency and wherever he was from, and he was a driver. Yeah, but anyway, so poor Mr. Odom. But good for him. Good for Mr. Odom. Quick little basketball thing too. Predictions.
I was about to hit you up with what is your beyond midseason prediction? But go ahead. What basketball thing?
No, I'm saying in terms of predictions, let's move forward. We got about 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in the NBA regular season.
Yeah, we've got like 19 minutes left for you to get on your basketball thing. I know it's not going to take 19 minutes.
No, you know what? We were talking before. I'm kind of thinking the Celtics in the East turn things around. I think the experience, the coaching. I think they're, what are they, the 3 perhaps or the 4 right now? I think Sixers are young. They're showing it. I think Simmons is inexperienced and maybe a little bit of not so much of a focus thing this year. His numbers are down. He didn't take a giant step forward like they thought.
Well, my question, heading back to Boston, does Kyrie Irving buy in? Because he doesn't sound like he's buying in.
He buys in if they win.
Yeah, well... He's turned into the bitchy old veteran.
He buys in if they win. Yeah, and
he's going to L.A.
I don't think
he's going to L.A. I'm telling you.
What if he wins in Boston?
He's not going to win in Boston. You know why?
Who comes out of the East?
Who comes out of the East? Yeah. Let's say it's Philly. Yeah,
not enough experience.
Not enough experience.
Dominant as Embiid is. Back-to-back games. I know the playoffs, they do rest in between.
When Simmons gets on a roll, they can do anything.
I know, but he's not a shooter. And he's not somebody.
But he's a ball distributor. And who was the guy that they just traded for?
They got Tobias Harris.
Yeah, Tobias Harris from the Clippers.
Yeah, Tobias Harris is a shooter.
Yeah, a shooter and also can.
But Jimmy Butler,
work the defensive end of the floor very
well.
Go
look at some of his box scores, his game logs. He's like 3rd or 4th for usage on that team.
Right.
Good defender. That's his MO. The guy can lock you down, but. I don't know, the Butler thing, the way he got traded and sent there and some of the communication issues in that locker room you heard about, I'm not sold on Jimmy Butler. I think there's something going on there. I don't know.
You think he's being a diva?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not.
I mean, that's what essentially what ran him out of Minnesota.
I go by the eyeball test. I'd say I'm not quick to label somebody as something, but I can recognize if something doesn't seem right, like the whole where there's smoke, there's fire type of thing. And he left a good spot with a good coach and then banged on everybody when he left.
Well, Derrick Rose and Tom Thibodeau ran him out of town. Okay, out of Minnesota, out of Minneapolis. Okay, Derrick Rose helped run him out of town because when Rose showed up, that was the end of Butler. So there's obviously some sort of problem between the two of them. Well, obviously.
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay.
But the bigger issue, I think, with them was the fact of, with Rose in particular, that was a whole different thing. I think Rose never got close to his expectations. Injuries kind of derailed him a little bit in that
situation. He's having a nice renaissance right now. Yeah, he's really
playing well.
Really,
he's getting
really
some minutes. He's 25 or 28 minutes a night, somewhere on average for them. No, this isn't a Rose thing. Again, I just think that they need to reassess the direction for them in terms of where they're going to go and find out what's best for them.
Rose is a bit of a diva. I mean, not Rose. Butler is a bit of a diva. So that might be a chemistry issue there. Do I think Boston has a good chance? Yes. I think that I see Boston and Toronto as 1 and 1A. But I think that if you get one or more of those, along with Embiid, you get one or more of those factors, gets on a hot streak, then Philadelphia can do anything.
No, Embiid at any point is clearly the best player on the floor.
Right.
I think in turn,
absolute beast.
He's matchup proof. He's 80+% from the free throw stripe.
Yeah.
He's a guy that can play the minutes. The issue though is he's been hurt and there's been some injury concerns and he missed some time recently. He was out for 6 or 7 games and they struggled. They have no interior presence without him on the court. And almost like a Jokic situation in Denver, they run the offense through Embiid. He can post up. He can post. He can go pick and roll. He can hit a three. So he's as versatile as they come for his size and his dominance. So but he's got to be on the court. He's got to play.
All right. So you see Boston coming out of the East.
I'm going Boston in the East, and I'm worried about the Golden State Warriors. Too many big losses at home. They lost to Phoenix a couple of nights ago. That's a problem.
Wouldn't it be nice to see the Nuggets make it to the finals?
Yeah, sure.
Jokic is a riot to me. It's awesome to watch.
They've got amazing guard play. They've got not Devin Harris. They've got Gary Harris, Will Barton, Jamal Murray.
Isaiah Thomas.
He comes off the bench. He's got some minutes, but no, they've got good guard play. They run their offense through Jokic, and that guy's another guy he's matchup proof.
Oh, yeah.
And they're well coached. They play a little bit of defense too in the West, which some teams don't. So they do that pretty well.
But you like those guys in red.
I like Houston.
Yeah.
Even though it hurts me to say that because I'm not a Harden guy. But I just think Houston was close last year.
It's the beard, isn't it? You got beard envy? Is that what it is?
I'm just not there yet.
You beard hating?
Maybe if mine grows a little longer, maybe I won't feel
beard
the same
hating.
way. I don't know. To me, quick, I think Houston, Boston. I think Houston gets Golden State this year. I think the chink in the armor is starting to show. And I think that
they had him last year before
Paul got hurt.
Well, yeah, before Chris Paul got hurt, it was. I think they had
a 20-point lead in that game.
Yeah,
and could have locked them out.
Yeah,
it would have been a wrap. And then Kevin Durant took over. So that series, if it gets down to those two teams, it's going to be an amazing series. Oh. But I'm leaning Houston just for the simple fact that it's difficult to explain the noise that was early on in that locker room with Golden State, with the Draymond Green issues and guys not playing and Curry missing time and Cousins being Cousins. He's not the most
he's still
Boogie. NBA player.
Boogie is still Boogie.
Yeah, I mean, dominant, no question, but he's another guy that doesn't create comfort.
They went so far as to pick up who did they pick up? They picked up somebody out of the Australian League. What the hell was it? The Australian guy. Wait, come on.
For where? For Golden State?
Yeah.
Talking a big man guard? What is Zubac? Zubac? The kid from the Lakers?
No. God, he played over here for the longest time. Anyway, while I sit here and look like a totally unknowledgeable idiot.
Well, JaVale McGee, he's our other player for the big guys.
But that's not a fitting substitute. Wins above replacement, if you will.
Yeah.
But okay, so and you see
I see Boston. Boston
winning.
And I go Boston going the whole way. Why not? Give it back to the East. Put the power back in the East. Yeah, a lot of flux on the West Coast. Let's see. Boston.
And then Kyrie opts out and goes to LA.
Not if they win. Not if they win. And I don't think he wants to go back and play with LeBron. Although if he has a title under his belt, maybe different. Maybe things change.
It's so funny that he played Uncle Drew in the movie, and now he's like the grouchy old man on the team.
Now, when I say under his belt, I mean his belt, not sharing it with LeBron. But
no, sharing it with several really great players out there.
Really good players that are getting better. Jason Tatum, even though he's hurt now, he's 21 years old. Kid's a beast. So
he's been in the league for 3 years.
He's really good. They've got good talent. So I think Boston's not going anywhere. I think they're a tough out for sure for anyone. Certainly in the Garden and certainly on the road.
All right, there you have it then. Anything else you'd like to add? Any last words before we toddle off into the sunset? I go smack my neighbor for running his lawnmower right beside the fucking house. How much of that are we catching on, by the way? The home studio pleasures of being in Western Boca Raton.
I'm just glad it was a lawnmower. Your last show, was it somebody with like toys that came here and did some stuff? I don't know what's going on in that closet.
Yeah, that was vibrators and dildos. And
I thought maybe she was in the closet.
Excuse me, that's Athena Home Novelties.
Whole novelties.
Novelties,
right.
Did you write the website down? Did you take it home to the wife and go, hey, check this out. Hey, look at these.
I got home and she was already on the website.
Already on the website.
So that's a win for me. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it's time for us to say bye-byes. Anything, any parting words? Nothing? Yes, no?
No, I think you're pretty cool. I think
check you out on
cool too.
Check you out on Twitter at Da Mazz.
At Da Mazz.
Okay, on Twitter. And, of course, you can check us out at the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk on Instagram at Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, and on we have both a fan and a group page on Facebook, Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, and of course our new starting time is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, wait, Daylight Savings Time.
One of those times.
And I'm going to be back in about 40 minutes to bitch about Daylight Savings Time because the Gonzo Radio Show starts at 7:30 p.m. We've moved the start times up a little bit because I want to sweat more as the sun refuses to go down until 8:30, 9 o'clock. So on behalf of myself and Da Mazz and the bow that you can't see off to the side, I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. We will see you again. Be sure to watch, like, share, subscribe, tell your mama. Gonzo Radio Sports Desk, 6 o'clock every Monday as we go over the shenanigans of the weekend.
And we are going places.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, what he said.
Steps in the right direction.
We'll see you guys next week.
Peace
Bye.
out.